Hey, welcome to episode 2 of Keeping It Simple. I'm Jenel.
And I'm Myranda.
Yeah, we're going to talk about sleep today because I think it being number 1 on both our lists lets you know like how high of importance it is on human health and a priority that we should put in our life goals. So, how's your sleep?
My sleep significantly improved over the past couple of years.
Why did you want to improve it? Did you notice some things going on?
Yeah. I just had this like chronic feeling of just waking up not feeling rested. And when I really took a deep dive and looked at how much a night I was sleeping, like I shared in the first episode, and if you haven't watched that one, go back. It's full of nuggets. But like I had shared, when I was tracking, I was like, wow, you're getting like 5.5, 6 hours of sleep a night. Yeah. Maybe that has something to do with the fatigue.
It's true. I thought I was sleeping good too. And this came to me from also doing my like basal body temps, because I use Tempdrop and it also has like a little like sleep tracker built in. And that was really intriguing to see like, why my basal body temps were not really that accurate for me. It was because I did wake up like before my alarm clock went off, like within my own body. And so my like resting temperature wasn't there because it was like an hour earlier than when I got up. So that was quite intriguing to see that like, I think I'm sleeping longer than I am because I'm in bed. I'm not really like in a deep sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. And that's the way I felt sometimes on the weekends. And it's like, okay, no, like I've been in bed, but I think that's a good point. Like, how much time are we actually sleeping and how much of that sleep is actually restful and rejuvenating?
Yeah. For me, sleep is like a huge proponent of health. Good sleep equals good health. There's like no way around it. If you ask anybody who's healthy later on in life, they're probably having still really good sleeps. And I'm talking like disease-free life. Not too many of them. But if you go out there and find the odd few that are in good health in their old age, sleep is definitely something they've probably prioritized, along with food, hydration, movement.
All those other simple things.
Yeah. And so I like to focus on sleep again because it's free. So it's something that we don't have to go out, buy a bunch of extra things, take a bunch of courses on. You could buy a bunch of things. I mean, we have uberant supply of sleep aids that you can have. Different pillows, different blankets, weighted blankets, cold blankets, cooling blankets, grounding blankets now, got grounding sheets. You could put little lights up, have a little sleep talker thing beside you. The whole shebang. You see these little like memes out there that it's like, as you get older, bedtime routine gets more intense. And I'm just like, or is that because we're very overstimulated outside of our sleep windows? And how do we wind down? And for a lot of these people adding in all these things, it's just a way to like complete their day, wind down from the moment that was going on before they decided to go to bed. And that's actually why it works. You could probably do a sleep routine without going out and spending hundreds of dollars on all those little items, because most of them are just replicating something free.
Yeah. Okay, so I love that. I think that's a really good point, is that it's something that we can access without having to spend a whole bunch of money on. And so when we say sleep, what are we really referring to? Because I think, for everyone listening, for myself, it's kind of that buzzword, right? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you sleeping well? Like, are you getting enough deep sleep? So how do you describe sleep?
Sleep for me is like the period of day when we are completely shut off. It's a deprived from stimulation type of environment, dark, quiet. Usually we should be in a semi-comfortable position. Comfortable. Because again, we overplay comfortability when it comes to sleep. Extra pillows, extra blankets, sleeping on things that, outside of this modern human time period, we would have never slept on soft surfaces. So some of these reasons why we like get so sore from sleeping is because we have like 5 pillows, or because we're like not sleeping in that like neutral body position. Kate Bowman, one of my favorite little movement people out there, she talks about sleeping with no pillows, and like sleeping on harder surfaces that are like the floor. Which for most of us, we're like, absolutely not. That's not going to help improve my body feelings.
Yeah.
But don't knock it till you try it is really what I say, because you'll never know. I've definitely switched from having different pillows to having pillows that are more supportive of my neck. So a lot of us get trapped in this position of like sleeping on our shoulder.
Yes.
Our pillow will be there, our shoulder's there, and then we're like curled up around it. Really, we should have a nice strong pillow that can come in, hit us here at our neck, and support our head, and our shoulder isn't anywhere near it.
Yeah. And so might not actually even be the type of pillow. What you're really talking about there is like positioning of your pillow, right? Yeah. And without being like all or nothing, if you are sleeping with 5 pillows, you don't all of a sudden have to go and try sleeping on the floor. Just slowly wind that down, right? But this point...
oh, look, I have one right here.
Oh, great.
Instead of going like this and sleeping with our shoulder on the pillow, we'd move the pillow to be here. And this pillow's not a really good one for your head support. But you'd want a harder, denser foam to support your neck posture and throat and tongue posture at night. So guess what? Don't snore as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all going to be looking at our partners in bed going, okay, how's that pillow lying?
Yeah. And honestly,
snoring?
try them out.
Yes.
Like that's why you could go to stores and try pillows, because what you think is going to be good won't. And at the beginning, it's probably going to be uncomfortable. Like changing how we hold and move our body, breaking down these patterns that we've been maybe having for like most of our life. Say we started using a pillow at, I don't know, 7 or something. Slowly over the course of 30 years, we built up to 5 pillows. Like, yeah, it's going to be really uncomfortable learning to position our head, neck, and shoulders like this while we sleep.
Differently,
instead of like that. Oh, and you can just see, like, no wonder our shoulders hurt when we're like curled up in a little fetal position. But
yeah,
we really get ingrained in it.
Yeah, so the positioning, maybe looking at that and saying, okay, well, if I'm waking up and I'm uncomfortable, that's really great advice.
Yeah.
You mentioned, sleeping is a time of less stimulus.
Yes.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that.
So our whole day we're being bombarded with imagery, sound, light.
Yeah.
Through the course of human history, we've evolved into loving electricity. Obviously, it has its perks. Look at us right now using electricity.
Yeah.
But it's definitely impacts our hormonal blueprint and our sleep ability. Because usually, say back in the 1900s, and there's studies on this, you can go out and find them. We used to sleep a lot longer, 9 to 10 hours a night, because we didn't have electricity, so there was only candlelight again. Going back to the last episode, you'll see candlelight's quite important to humans and our ability to find rest. And so now we've replaced that. We have artificial light. And it, again, does have its benefits, but there is a lot of negative impact. And even right now, up in the Northern Hemisphere, we have migratory animals. And I've seen actually a lot of posts about this, that we should think about turning down the lights in our city, turning off our porch lights during these migratory periods, because we're not the only animals affected by this artificial light. It also impacts our animals who use it to fly and move across the globe. And so I thought that was really interesting, that hey, it's not only impacting our sleep, but how the animals are moving around too. And so, yes, stimulation. Me and Myranda both have this rule. No TV in the bedroom.
None. It could be a big change. And I think it's really important, kind of feeds on your point of, what have we evolved into accepting as normal sleep, even though if we look back, hundreds of years ago, And I mean, it's great. We're in a time where we can have electricity and we can stay up later working on that thing to get it done, baking those cookies for the kids, tomorrow for school and all of that. And then what are we compromising, with that extra stimulus in the bedroom or even leading up to the time when our body is naturally wanting to wind down. And that makes me think of something that was super, super powerful for me, was recognizing it's probably not healthy for me to wake up in the morning and immediately grab my schoolwork or my business work after I graduated physiotherapy, being in bed, working, finishing my day in bed, trying to wind down in bed with my reading, client stuff. So I've switched that, and it has made a huge difference. The bedroom, and I heard someone say this, and it took me a while to take this to heart, but the bedroom is the best for sleep when we are only sleeping and having intimacy in our bedroom. Getting rid of all of that other stuff, like the TV, like the work, or whatever else you have hanging around that's not sleeping or intimacy.
Yes. And I think a huge part of that intimacy part, like if you're struggling with intimacy or even low libido, spend some time in the dark touching your spouse, or even just laying there in the dark with no other distractions. I don't know, see what happens in 3 months or something.
Yeah. I want to hear about that. Definitely try it. Yeah. No, really, it makes sense, right? You don't want to be on blast in the lights all the time. Doesn't necessarily get you feeling...
Well, and the dark really helps stimulate like ovulation. It really helps our cycle move nice as women when we tap into our melatonin, because it's a big healer medicine, and a big component of sleep is healing. And so when people don't sleep, of course their health isn't good because they're not getting that like long prolonged healing state. And when you go into like brainwave states, right now me and you, we're in like a beta brainwave state, talking, logical, frontal cortex firing. We're not in this state when we're sleeping. So it's really important for us as humans to get out of this state, move into a deeper, slower brainwave, one where we can integrate and process and like understand the experiences that we've been going through, so that we can actually meet our reality where it is when we wake up, instead of being like, I don't know what's going on. That's why in other parts of human awareness, we know that like sleep deprivation is a form of like torture. And I would say that we are chronically sleep deprived as a human species right now, because we always love to be productive. It's pretty ingrained into us. Rest, pretty much like useless. No one likes to rest.
Or you have to earn your rest, right? I've seen a lot of, people coming out and sharing, rest, the right, it's your right to rest.
Yeah, you don't need to do your to-do list to rest. Like, rest is on the to-do list. It's top of the to-do list.
Yeah.
And so it's even said that new moms, a year after their postpartum, 700 hours less sleep than, say, you on a regular year. And then so we take that even further. We're not getting sleep as new moms. We take that back into our workplace. We send our kids away. Now they're going to daycare. Their sleep suddenly becomes shortened. So most children, 0 to 3, 1 to 3, we'll say, should get between like 12 to 15 hours of sleep. 15 hours, I think. And how many kids are really getting that? Not too many. Even if you take it into like adolescents, teens, they should definitely still be getting 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night. Most of them aren't. For us, we would be awesome if we got 8 to 10 hours, as Myranda said when she started tracking. And when I started tracking, no, I was definitely getting under 7.
Yeah.
And I would think that's the average of most humans right now. And so it is a priority for us if we want to feel good, if we want to have good mental health, we want to have longevity in our organ systems, we need to sleep to reach that like deeper brainwave state that is known for healing.
Okay, so optimal hours of sleep for us as adults.
Yeah, 8 to 10 hours.
8 to 10 hours, okay.
Especially for women. Like I was saying, men can tweak that a little bit because their circadian rhythm, their infradian rhythm, like their hormonal rhythm is so different than ours. It's a 24-hour period. So like, yeah, sure, they can get away with one day of less sleep because they're going to have like the same hormonal energy blueprint the next day. Where ours, we'll talk about it more in a future episode.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're a woman, you've experienced it.
That cyclical monthly
it's not the
cycling.
same every day.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's talk a little bit about, you know, maybe we're recognizing that we're not getting enough sleep. So when we both realized that, I think the big thing that I wanted to do right away was try to make this massive adjustment, right? Okay, Myranda, you're sleeping 5.5 to 6 hours. You said 8 to 9, maybe 10 hours of sleep, right?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big jump. So, you know, on the days that I could really schedule in more of that sleep, I did. And for the most part, making that big jump and bringing in more sleep into my schedule and routine really needed to start with just being intentional about trying to get to bed like 10 or 15 minutes sooner and sticking with that for a couple of weeks. Yeah. Trying to create that sustainability through, you know, a habit that was going to be realistic. And then over these past 2 years.
2 years.
2 years since I got the Aura Ring.
Like I wish people knew how long it is. It's not like, oh, I did this in a week.
No. I mean, if you really want it that bad, like, yes, you can make that decision and make that switch. And I think in most cases, it does take time. Now, I would say it's taken me 2 years, and I did start to feel the mental and physical health benefits of increased sleep probably within a couple of weeks of just again intentionally trying to get to bed 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes sooner. Yeah.
Anything else that you think you've added in that's helped improve your sleep?
Yeah, it's actually in the past probably, well, I think really been this spring, trying to get outside for some sunlight in the morning. Just from what I've read and, you know, naturally what ended up happening, my cat, he loves to go outside.
I love your cat.
Yeah, he loves to go outside. And so because he was more and more adamant about getting outside around like 7 o'clock, right when I was waking up, it was either him scratching at the door and me screaming at him, telling him to stop, or me just going, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to continue to wake up a little bit in the sunshine, taking him out, putting him on the leash. And then my yoga mat is just right there on the deck. I've got a yoga mat. It's dirty. It doesn't matter.
For the best.
I'll spend some time just sitting there. Sometimes I just lay there. Sometimes I stretch. But yeah, getting a bit of morning sunlight has really helped.
See that? She took a cue from her animal.
Yes.
I always tell people, like, cats, dogs, animals that we live with, the animals around us.
Even young children probably that aren't in maybe as much of a strict rhythm and routine. Yeah.
As much as we don't like our toddlers waking up with the sun, they're onto something. And we almost want to, when they wake up with the sun, like, greet them with the sun versus the TV or another form of artificial light. Because that's why we're really waking up. We're like waking up to receive light into our eyes, and like that light turns on all of the other circuits in our body. And I'm gonna post in the comments here a little app that I found. It's a circadian rhythm app, and so say you want to get up for the sunrise, you put in your location, and every day it will set to alarm. Maybe you want to wake up 10 minutes before sunrise, or you want to wake up as the sun rises and like sit there and watch it. That really helps prime our sleep system as much as it sounds kind of counterintuitive. That light tells us when to produce melatonin. That's really what we need.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us here living in the northern hemisphere, or people who work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, don't have individual control over their schedule, it becomes an individual choice. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to just drink coffee in the morning, scrolling through your artificial light, spending all day inside, not receiving any light because, maybe we start work before 9 or 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And in the winter, you go to work and it's dark. So maybe you're going to choose to take your break at morning sunrise, so you can just go out and watch it then.
Mm-hmm.
So there are ways to like carve this out in our crazy, chaotic modern world, and just know that a lot of the ways that we live in our modern life are designed so that we don't see sun for reasons, or like we don't get enough sleep for a reason,
or forcing us towards productivity away from some of that natural rest. Okay. And so the app is free, right? Okay, perfect. We love that.
Circadian Life, it's on iPhone and Apple, and it's pretty cool because you can also set up alarms for like food. After you wake, you could set an alarm like in an hour I'm going to eat, and it will ding you. And then like every 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever little routine you want to have with your body, it can set it up all in accordance to like the amount of daylight you get, which is pretty cool, just to like experiment and feel how that is in your body. Because for a lot of us, we haven't been living in those day and nights, and I mean right now is a kind of unique time to be experimenting with it because we just went through fall equinox when day and night is equal. And so now you start to notice that every day is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter, and it's super dramatic here. You can definitely practice good sleep hygiene in the winter.
And we're going to be keeping each other accountable with that. And so, in these last couple of minutes that we have, what advice do you have for people who are waking up just like naturally on their own, maybe not being able to fall back asleep, and then there's another layer? What if they're being woken up because of breastfeeding, or attending to a child? What are some simple tips?
It's honestly having those adult conversations with ourselves and choosing to like prioritize sleep, choosing actively to maybe like move devices out of our vicinity, so when we wake up at night, we don't have our bright, insane phone. Like my phone has blue light block screen on it 24/7. You have all these like little health settings you have in your phone now. So I've gone and like turned on all of those. My backlight's really low. All of these settings. You were mentioning that some women in your exercise group read off of devices that aren't a phone, like an actual like e-reader, because they're made to be a little bit like lighter, less blue artificial light. You could also, I encourage people, if you are waking up with your kids, we're priming their sleep hygiene as much as we're working on ours. So we don't want to have the light on. We want to make an environment that's safe and comforting for them, so that we're priming their nervous system. So that's the difference between like behavioral sleep that can be fixed really quick in a couple days, but it's a behavioral thing. It's not an ingrained somatic nervous system change. And so like, that's why sleep training works, because it's behavioralism. It's like a psychological behavioralist training, where the other side of it is growing and nurturing our nervous system to learn and develop healthy sleep habits, and that takes time. As you said, 2 years. So we're expecting our brand new babies to come out who are on their own sleep rhythm, doing their own thing, not influenced by anything, and then we come out and we're like, how come you don't know what you're doing? And it's like, you're an
5,
adult.
get with it, babes.
And it's like, you're an adult who made a conscious decision to change your sleep, made active habit changes for that, and it still took 2 years. Okay, so we should give our kids at least that 0 to 3, which we're supposed to. But we really rush them into that. And then we wonder why. We have people who are taking melatonin or sleep pills later on, and it's like, well, that's ingrained in our nervous system. That's ingrained in our society to not really sleep. And so it's a lot of inner work to have this outer work of sleep become something that like we deem as a priority in our lives. And you really do just have to like meet it where you are at and adapt and be open to adapting.
Yeah.
Because like what's gonna work for you right now isn't gonna work with Myranda post babies.
No.
You know, just like me 15 years ago, what was going on with my daughter when she was waking up all the time? Guess what? Now she's like not home all the time. And I still have to do those same like nervous system things, tracking my daughter, seeing how she's feeling, seeing how I'm feeling. So like it's always there. We just always have to adapt to meet our sleep with what we need at that moment. And it's gonna change throughout our whole lives. And again, as we get older, probably have to sleep more again.
Yeah. And coming back to simple things. We hear it all the time. Reducing that blue light, reducing that stimulus before going to sleep. It makes sense, if you want to fall back asleep at 3:00 in the morning, probably going to want to keep those lights dim. Now, these are really like superficial strategies, right? Specific to sleep. And we know that if we're waking up in the middle of the night and we're not able to fall back asleep, there could be other things that we're doing throughout our day that might be disrupting our sleep rhythms, like ingesting caffeine after 2 p.m. in the afternoon because we're not sleeping well and we're having that crash. So then we're using that caffeine. Or you've mentioned, protein is just not powerful for our muscles and developing strong tissues. It's also important for feeding our tissues so that we can actually then stay asleep and stay in a good sleep rhythm. So coming back to these foundational health practices that, like you said, meet us where we're at and also follow some of those principles that we know are tried and true.
It's true. Keep it simple, guys.
Yeah, keep it simple. Thanks for listening.